Hey everybody, this is Rusty again from Collector Auctions, and today I've got a comic book haul video for you. These books came from a local comic book show that I just went to, and I want to talk to you today about the type of books that I got and why I got them and how I approach a show when I go to a show. So let's just get into the books. I got a pretty big haul here. I didn't expect to even pick up this many books, but this will be a good example of what I get and how I go about my approach to a show. Now, when I go to a show, especially going to so many over this last summer and picking up so much stuff. You guys watch my videos, you see the kind of books I'm picking up. Some of them are less expensive, some of them are pretty expensive. So you can't keep buying everything all the time without turning around and getting some of these books graded, resell some of these books. I mean, that's starting off. That's my first approach. Is a lot of times I will go to a show and I will, well, it's two approaches. Is it for your PC or is it for resale or is it for both? And a lot of cases it sort of crosses over. But as I was saying, I've gone to so many shows this summer that I'm kind of in that point right now that I'm really trying to focus in on books that I want for my PC. And if I can't find that right off the bat, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to look for books that I can work on, try to find at good values, that I can turn around and get them graded. And I'm shooting for those 9/8 on every time I'm buying a book, unless it's an older book of some sort, I'm shooting for those 9/8. And when I say older books, I mean copper and older. I'm sorry, not copper, Bronze Age and older. Yes, you can, I can look for lower grades, but you get me into the 80s, into the Copper Age, and I think a lot of cases you can pull some of those books and you can still get them up to those 9/8. I have done that. I've got several. I can name a handful of those books, from the SpiderMan books to Fantastic Fours and some Avengers, that I've literally gotten up to 9/8 with a little bit of love and care. Now, they're great books to begin with, but I digress. I'm not Peter David, but I digress. So in this case, I go in there and I literally lap the room. And it's not a big, this is Clandestine Comics. This is the same show I go to just about every other month. This one was up in Hunt Valley, Maryland this time. And I look at the walls and I see what I was looking for. Now, I had a list of 4 books that, like, these are the books that I want for my PC at this current time. And I went around the room, I found one of those 4, I kind of looked at the price tag, and I sit there and I said, okay, that's exactly in that range that I would be willing to pay for that if it was in a real near mint, perfect, almost perfect copy. So I let it sit, because in my mind I'm going, okay, am I just going to go and spend that big amount of money at the beginning, or am I going to go around and see if I can find some of these less expensive books that you have the potential to work on and send in, get those high grades, and be able to have a book that you can literally invest a little bit into and get a big return. You know, it's all about return on investment. And I guess this is what I want you guys to take away from what I do. I don't do this 100% just for profit. I don't do 100% just for the PC. It's got to be a mix. There's no way I can do this all the time. It's got to be, part of this has got to pay for itself. So I look for books all the time that I think will pay for itself. I do this all the time. So in my mind, I've got and I go there with an Excel sheet, much like the one like this one here, and it lists off all the books that I have been working on over the last year, books that I have targeted over the last year, and it gives me, I literally put the prices down for what every grade is, down to about unless you get Silver Age, that's a little bit different, but for the most part, down to a 6.0. What would you pay for that today if you wanted to buy that? And I kind of use that as my gauge to how much I'm going to spend on a book, knowing that loosely I know what the formula will work out. You can spend $10 on a book here, but if you can turn that to a $150 book, that's pretty good. So there's my approach. So I start going around, and knowing that one particular issue that I was on my wish list is sitting back there, I start going around and looking into the boxes now, and I'm going to see what I can find. And there's one dealer, I've gone to him multiple times. He does these $10 boxes, then he goes over and you've got $5 boxes and then a bunch of $2 boxes. And then he still has priced as marked boxes and a bunch of really nice wall books. And I have bought from him just about every show I've gone. And I'm telling you, these $10 boxes are loaded up with keys that can turn around and grade out really good because his conditions are fantastic. I mean, the conditions on his books are just fantastic. I mean, I've literally, I want to say, had some Punisher Warzone number 6s with Wolverine that came out of there, $10 books that I got graded 9/8. Trying to think what else. There's just been a lot of books I've pulled out of there, so I don't mind spending paying $10 for a book if you can get a $150, $200 book or something. But that's what happened to me at this show. I ended up at that particular dealer, and all of a sudden I'm going through his boxes and I'm finding $10 books, and I'm like, okay, this is really good. I can't walk away from this. And all of a sudden the price starts adding up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what this type of show is. I'm getting books that I'm looking to turn more than for the PC. So that's basically it. Let's get into the books, and then we'll walk you through. I'll walk you through, because I ended up finding other things at other places as well, and with the same thought in mind. So I'm just going to start. I've got these. They're not necessarily in any talking order, except for a couple at the back. But let's just get into it, and I'll tell you about what I paid for it versus what a potential for. In most cases, I'll just do a 9/8, 9/6 prices. So we cut the time down a little bit here, but let's just start off. $10 book, Spectacular Spider-Man 131. This is in really nice shape. I tell you what, unless I find an older book here that isn't in really nice shape, assume that everything in here is really nice shape. We're talking 9/8s, 9/6s, potential 9/4s, depending on the grading, but I'm shooting 9/6, 9/8s. 9/8s is what I'm shooting for. I'm looking for the most near perfect copies all the time, or else I wouldn't have bought this. If this thing had had a spine tick, and he had another copy that had a spine tick, I walked away. It's not worth me to look at that and try to get a 9/6. No, I'm looking at this trying to get that 9/8. This is part of Craven's Last Hunt. Spectacular Spider-Man. And for you guys who watched my last video, this is that sheet that I worked up on the last video, and it's got the same, all the books from this show as well, where I go in here. This is my Excel form that I work on, and it's got a formula. It has the broken down by 9/8, 9/6, 9/4. In a couple cases, it goes a little bit lower if it's an older book. And I put in there a price. How much would this book, if you wanted to buy this, if this was a 9/8 and you wanted to buy it today, how much would you be able to sell that for, or how much could you buy this for? And that's the price I plug in. And going across the columns here, I have how much a buyer, if somebody was buy this from me, how much would they pay in postage? I have how much it cost me for this item. I have my CGC cost figured in, and then I have what my actual postage is for me. And then eventually I get down to the formula. It comes down to the potential profit. So, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I don't want you guys to get the idea that I do this, as I said, 100% for profit. But this is the math formula that I go into when I look for books. Even for books for my PC, I do the same thing. So, because eventually those books will get sold someday. I'm going to die. The books will get passed down to my daughter. I want her to be able to understand what I'm doing and understand the value of what I have. I don't want her just throwing a collection away. So, I'm rambling. So, we've got 131 here. It's a $10 book. This right here, if you can get a 9/6, or excuse me, a 9/8 on this, you got a potential of selling right now today. If you wanted to buy this online, 9/8, $265. So $10 profit, a $10 value. You work the formula. You're talking about just over a $200 value, potential profit on something like that if you can pull a 9/8. This is why I do this. 9/6, it drops down, $175 potential sale, but you're talking $123 potential profit. Now, this is the book right here that I'd be tempted with $123 of potential profit at a 9/6. I'd be tempted to put this into a 9.6 pre-screen because you could afford for it to drop down if it's not a 9/8. Let's just continue. I'll continue with these books. This was XMen 213. this I ended up spending $26 on. Now, this is a book you guys know I love. This is one of my favorite X-Men books. I have been trying to get that 9.8. I think I've gotten at least 196 finally. This was a really nice copy, and even though it was only $26, I had the dealer, I asked him if he would take it out of the bag so I could see the back, because the back, I've bought this book too many times. They have too many spine ticks that just, one will just kill it at that point. And this one was super clean, and I was excited about that when I saw that. So I jumped on that. $26 is about the kind of price you should pay on something like this. And you can pull this 9.8, and this is, honestly, this needs to be a 9.8 at this point. This is a $225 book if you sold it or wanted to buy it today. And that would give you about $150 of profit down the line. Now, don't take my prices and say, well, you're off by this, you're off by that. Yeah, I know I'm off on some of these. On every one of these will be off a little bit, because today's price is not tomorrow's price. And that's just what a seller, that's what the lowest seller on eBay is asking for right now. But in a lot of cases, if you wanted to sell it, you probably would need to come down even lower than that. So when I say there's a profit potential of 225, that might be the max, honestly. So, and a lot of these prices on here that I have, the CGC cost, they keep changing a little bit, so that might fluctuate. My actual postage, depending on where I send something, may change a little bit too. So this is not an exact science, but it's definitely really close to the ballpark on these. But if this right here, if it drops down, yeah, so it drops down to a 9.6 at this point, which is really disappointing, because such a key comic for X-Men, for Wolverine, for Sabretooth. I mean, you could buy this today, 9.6 of this for $80 on eBay. That's crazy. If I wanted to sell that at a 9.6, which I do, I have those online, but I don't have it listed that cheap, to be honest. You got a potential for maybe $24 of profit. I mean, really, I'm not selling it for that. I'd rather just keep it and hold on to it at some point. Let's just continue here. Okay, now here's one. Now those were from another dealer. Those weren't from the $10 dealer I was talking about earlier, but those two and this one here all came from the same seller. And this one right here excited me. This was a $70 comic book, and one of the things I want you guys to know is that when you see the prices on a lot of these, even the ones where the books were $10 a piece, when I bundled everything together, you bundle these together, you get a price break. And I don't have the exact price break, so I'm just going to go off of what they were asking for initially. If I walked up there and I just wanted to buy the one book, he probably wouldn't give you anything off. But had a $70 price tag on this. I had him take out Wolverine #1 here. Got that John Byrne pin up on that back side. And I'm going, the front looks super good. I mean, it is spine tick free. Maybe a couple little creases that can be pressed out. Back is super clean. And at that point, okay, I'm jumping in. I'm jumping in at that point. This, honestly, the price on this has come down a lot. And I got a question whether, actually, yeah, here it is. It has come down recently, but right now, if you wanted to buy a 9.8 of this book right now, it is $435 on eBay right now. Today, you want to go buy that, but here's the example: $70. You put it into the formula, you're able to sell for $435. That's almost a $290 profit on something like that. So, yeah, this is why I bought this book. This book has potential. That has that 9.8 potential. Now, a 9.6 drops down to $150 to be able to sell, and that only makes it a $41 profit. If this book had had one tick on it, I would have walked away, but it doesn't. It is super clean. All right, as I said, I'm going to jump around, and a bunch of the rest of these books are going to be from the original $10 dealer, and I'm just going to, I don't know if I'm going to give you break down the prices on every one of these. These are all $10 books. I will just give you, and we'll go off of 9.8 prices on this. I'll give you the potential price and potential profit for 9.8s only on these. And these are hot books right now. We've got the Wonder Man Special #1, and just real quick on that, if I can find it here. $280 potential profit or potential sale. You're talking about a $214 potential profit. Wonder Man #1. This is him in Hollywood now, and I bought 2 of those. They had more of this, but these are the 2 cleanest that I took. This one right here is about $180 at a 9.8 for sale, and with a potential profit of $127. Then he had a bunch of these Fantastic Four 358s, and I ended up going through, I pulled every one I could, stacked them up, and I went through and I looked at these spines. These are square bound, and tried to check out, see if there's any ticks along this, because I don't have a lot of experience yet pressing on square bounds yet. So I'm looking for a super clean copy. 358 here is, of course, the first appearance of the Power Scroll, and that is a potential key because of the new Secret Invasion on the MCU that's coming out. So that's why I picked those up. I only picked 2 of those up. The rest of them, I probably could have picked up a few more, but 2 was fine, and some of the other ones had a little bit of ticks around the edges down here, but the corners on this, on both of these, are really sharp on front and back. So did I give you, I don't think I gave you cost on that. Right now, that's a $143 sale, or if you wanted to buy it, it gives you, for only a $10 buy-in, it really works down to, it's about a $95 potential profit on something like that. He had a copy of Captain Marvel #1, and this is from, I believe, 2014. This is one that wasn't necessarily on my list, and this one doesn't have a lot of spec value. There's not a lot of value in something like this. A 9.8 right now, you can buy it for $85. Normally, I wouldn't go in on a book with that little potential, but it was a #1. I didn't have it, so I didn't mind just having it for the PC. So that was really just a buy, and I took a chance on someone like that. We've got New Mutants #26. This is the first appearance of Legion, and this looked super clean as well, a book I grew up with. Here we are, we're talking about Bill Sienkiewicz again, just absolute goodness from Bill Sienkiewicz. New Mutants 26 is as a 9.8, it's got a potential of $139. That gives you, in the formula here, about a $91 profit margin. Found in that same box, he had a very clean copy of 275 of Captain America. This is Mike Zeck. Just absolutely stunning artwork. This is the first appearance. I take that back. I guess it's technically the first appearance of the second Baron Zemo. This is Helmut Zemo. This is the first, not his first appearance. That's 168 in a much earlier issue. And at that point, he was calling himself Phoenix. In this, he finally comes back, and he's taken up the mantle of the Baron Zemo, and that's what's significant. That's the key to this issue here. This is a really clean spine on this. I've got multiple copies of this. None of them are as clean as this one, but I actually have this signed by the entire creative team. The writer, Mike Zeck, John Beatty. Who's the writer? I'm going to get this right. DeMathis? Is that right? I'd have to look, but I know I've got the whole creative team to sign this whole Baron Zemo run of books at some point over the years. But let's see. Captain America, 275. Here you go. Look at this. $10 book with a potential of 9.8. 9.8 today, if you wanted to buy this, $285. If you were selling that right now, you got a potential profit of about $219. Again, return on investment. This is, to me, these are minor investments for big return. Here we go. Another one. Another good example. Punisher #2 from his limited miniseries. Another Mike Zeck and John Beatty artwork series here. This is edition #2. Another $10 book. $250 as a 9.8 with a potential of $188 in potential profit. Just absolutely, I mean, there's gold in them, their hills, you know? That's what I'm talking about. And some of these are, mostly of these ones I look for resale. And some of these I'll definitely want to keep. But for them, I'm just looking through this. Everything right now is for resale. Then we'll get to the end. There's a few more I'll keep for myself. Here's a copy of Ren and Stimpy #1. I think this is the first print, and it's still got the poly bag. I bought this because the copy I had looked into getting it graded, but it had a little bit of a tick after I took it out of the bag. Potential 9.8, $160, $109 potential profit. SpiderMan #307, the Todd McFarlane, great cover of the chameleon there. This, I believe, is the origin of the chameleon. I think he gets new powers in this too. I can't recall exactly, but Spider-Man 307 as a 9.8, $225 if you wanted to buy it today. As a 9.8, it gives you a potential profit of $166. Now, this is a hot comic that I never had growing up. I didn't like this. I didn't like the art in this. I thought it was far inferior to the first volume of Man-Thing books from his original run. But this is from his second run, and I want to say this is from 1979. This right here, go on Key Collector right now and go collect. This is in the top 10 ever. This right here is a hot book. It is one of the hot Man-Thing books because of the Halloween special I guess they're doing on Disney Plus. Werewolf by Night, is it just rumors or is it really confirmed? I think it was confirmed. I think there was an image of Man-Thing. But that's a really hot book. This is not a 9.8 potential. It does have, there is a tick over there. My guess this is probably closer to a 9.4. And there's not a lot of potential in this. This is a book that I probably wouldn't get graded, but it may be one I just keep raw and throw it up on eBay as a raw book. And I paid $10 for this. I could probably turn around and, at the very least, double my ask on something like that. I'm not sure what, I haven't gone on eBay to look for raws and see what they're selling for, but as a 9.4, if I could even turn it around in a month, it's only a $60 buy. You could go on eBay right now and buy this for $64 as a 9.4 if you really wanted to. 9.8, you'd get about $178. Let's see, what else? Oh, so he had 3 really good copies of Iron Man. Like I said, I got 3 of them there. Oops, and my monitor is going to sleep. Of Iron Man 170, this is where James Rhodes takes over the mantle. Well, he puts on the armor. He doesn't take over the character, but he puts on the armor the first time. And this is 170, and this is, all 3 of these are really, really sharp copies. And let's see, on something like this. Now, I obviously wouldn't buy 3 of these if I didn't think they were really good and had some potential. Let's see if I've got them on here. I'm completely missing it. Okay, looks like I left it off the list when I was making this. So what I'll do is, since I don't have it on hand right here, I will put this up on screen, what a 9.8 goes for and what the potential profit is for something like this. So I apologize for that, but this is a book I've spec'd on in the same vein in before. I've picked this up at shows. It is, again, another $10 book. Now this one was from that same dealer. It was in his $5 boxes, and I kind of, at that point, I'd spent enough money, so, but even his $5 boxes had gold in there, and this right here is a really, really clean copy of 249, and a book that you need to get a 9.8 on to really make it valuable. Let's see if I've got it on here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have that on in here either. I'll do the same thing with this one here. This is a book that I have gotten graded before. I've gotten 9.6s out of it. And but you really need to get to that 9.8. A book like this, I would put into, if you think it's worthy, put it in that 9.8 pre-screen. And if it doesn't make it, fine, take the fee and move on. But this right here is a super clean copy, good potential for a 9.8. And again, I'll put this on the screen just like the Iron Man. Same thing with this. This is a $10 book. I picked this up from that original dealer where I picked up the Wolverine. This is part of the Weapon X series. He had several issues from Weapon X from the Marvel Comics Presents, not number 72, and he didn't have 79. 79, I'm looking for another really clean copy. Well, I'm looking always for clean copies in all of these, but this one was with the black cover is really tough, and I'm not sure if I've gotten this one graded yet, because I've gotten most of these graded, but I've only had a few 9/8s on the entire run. And for $5, or yeah, for $5, Marvel Comics Presents, let's see if I've got that on here. Yeah, you could pull a 9/8 on this. This is a $130 comic. I'm doing that because I've already done so many of these Comics Presents before. I really want to get that entire run. That's a ambitious 9.8, because these books to me have been tough to get 9/8s on. I've got my 9/8 on my issue number 72, but I've barely got a 9/8. I think on 72 and 73, but the rest of them it's nothing but 9/6s and 9/4s, and it's kind of a waste. It was a learning experience, and all of these I really should have tightened up my looking at the books to see if it really was a 9/4, 9/6, 9/8, whatever. In my mind at the time, they were all super clean. I thought they would all grade out 9/8s and 9/6s at the very least. So these are ones that I would protect myself from dropping down again. If I think this is good, just like that Fantastic Four, if I think this is a 9.8, I need to put this in a pre-screen, because as an older book, there may be defects that you don't necessarily notice that pop up, great paper quality or something. I don't know, something, because they will drop down real quick. So anyway, 9.8 on this, $130. Yeah, it's a potential profit of maybe about $83 on something like this as a 9/8. And then here are some. These are the first ones I picked up. This is why I stopped at this dealer the first books I found in there. He had a whole section of facsimiles. And guys, if you follow the channel, you know I love facsimile reprints. They've got a lot of value, and some of them have really a lot of value, and some of them just there's no value because they're just so mass produced, and everybody bought them because of what it was. But like the recent Spider-Gwen, Edge of the Spider-Verse, it's so printed. The Werewolf by Night with Moon Knight. There's so many out there right now that they're not. You get them graded, you'll be lucky to sell them for $50 as a graded 9.8. But there's some of these that are a little bit older, and they're even more significant books. And if you can get this graded, this is Hulk 181, facsimile reprint. This right here, this is why I pick up facsimile reprints on some of these like this. And I picked this up. He had several. This was the only copy that looked as clean as it did, that I felt like was a straight up 9.8. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, in fact, on my list here, I don't even list what a 9.6 would be. This would go into a pre-screen 9.8 right now. This right now is it's a $120 comic book. That's a potential of about $75. That's not a super big profit, but that's indicative of the reprints that I get. The facsimile reprints I get. That's my target. I don't care that this isn't the original book. This is its own comic book. It has its own value, and it is what it is, because this is still a real comic book, and it still has real value. So that's what you put $10 into something like this. Right now, if you wanted to buy this as a 9.8 online, it would cost you about $120 on eBay. So as I said, about a $75 potential profit on something like that. But the real gem was this right here, because I have not had this, and these two were really, I got two of them. Amazing Fantasy 15, just absolutely gorgeous. Both of these are just stunning, near mint copies. I didn't see any ticks on them like this. And here you go. Amazing Fantasy number 15 facsimile. 9.8 right now. This is a $200 comic book. Just like any comic book I just showed you, this is a $200 comic book right here. I don't care if it's a facsimile. That's a potential profit of about $145 on something like that. So there you go. There's my methodology on that. I mean, this is why I get these like that. And then the last one I picked up from the $10 vendor was this here. I found this. Now, this was not a spec or anything. This is just, wow, this is really a neat looking comic book. This is Archie's Madhouse number 50. I'd never seen this before. I grew up reading Archie just like I did reading Marvel and DC and reading Richie Rich and Casper and Wendy and Little Dot and all that, Donald Duck and all that stuff. I read all that, but Archie, I read enough Archie to know that they did this weird superhero line with them, and I'd never seen these characters, but I knew, it's very much like was it? Who is Archie? Was he Pure Heart? Is that what he was? I can't remember the exact name, but this looks super clean and just a fun book. I just wanted to get it, but I don't know if I don't think I priced this out if I even wanted to get it graded. I don't think I did because this was not a grading book. This was right here, just a book this is kind of cool. But this is actually, I looked it up, it's from 1966, and this is, I'm telling you, this is a really sharp comic from 1966. I mean, you pull some of your Fantastic Four from that era, and you're talking these big money books and lesser condition. This is a really nice condition, but again, just for fun. And then I'm about ready to leave the show. At this point, I had kind of pulled the plug on buying, and I got help down here. Hang on a second, guys. I got help right here. This right here is Lucky, and he's down there moving my mic stand. So if the camera got shaky, here, go ahead. If my camera got shaky, it's because he keeps rubbing against it. So anyway, let me get back on point here. So at the very end, I was about ready to leave, and I'm going, okay, I kind of almost forgot. The reason I went to the show was, to begin with, I had 4 comics on that list. I don't have the list in front of me, but I knew I've got the one book that I ended up buying, and that was Captain America #6. A book that I pulled out on my PC, cleaned and pressed it, and got it up to a 9.6. I did not think it'd be a 9.8. It had a tick that it was well, it's not color. It wasn't color breaking. It was on the white, but it was still there. I couldn't get it out. It was color breaking on white, I guess. And I had been looking to replace it and try to get that 9.8. And I took a look at this book. I had the dealer take it out of the bag. I took a look at it. It looked really good on both front and back. It needs a little bit of work on the spine, but super clean. And this is something I ended up spending about $95 on this right here. That's about that target price that I would want to pay on something like that. If it had been in a little bit better shape, it would have cost a little bit more. It's basically the way I was thinking. So the book I felt like I could work on and get bumped up. And let me give you this. This, as a 9.8 right now today, it's a $300 comic book. Winter Soldiers, it's not as hot as it was a few years ago, but they have announced that the Winter Soldier is coming back for the Thunderbolts, and that should be exciting. And at a $300 potential profit as the 9.8 with all the fees, this right here and how much it cost me, you got a potential of close to $150 on something like that if you ended up getting it graded and then selling it. Now again, all these prices go into, you're talking about today's prices on books, what the potential is, how much you got to figure in. Well, it's kind of hard. You can't figure in how much people actually want certain books. There is some to that. You can definitely see the rate of books that are being sold. There's something that I probably need to figure into this whole equation a little bit more, rather than just looking at a book and saying, oh, well, this book sold for this. If I did that, I could sell it for that. Well, if there's not a lot of people clamoring for that book, maybe that book doesn't sell right at that point, and then if the market goes down, then the price goes down. So there's all these factors you got to figure in, and knowing that this book right here, for example, the 9.6 right now, if you wanted to buy it today, it's $165. I can tell you I sold it for more than that, and that was about 3 to 4 months ago. So, and he is going to mess up my mic like crazy here. But sorry, Lucky is, I've nicknamed him 2 Feet Pete, because every time I come down here into the family room and start doing the show, he has to be within 2 feet of me about the whole time here. So anyway, off track again. But as I said, this right here, it's, if I can get that 9.8, then that'd be great. It'll be for the PC. I may, and if the market goes up on that, I may sell it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But guys, I hope you got something out of this. I hope this type of video isn't just a comic book haul. This is a hopefully it's a little bit of a training video for you guys. And any new people are coming into the hobby, and you want to look at how other people approach buying, selling, what they do with the books and everything. When I buy these books, I'm not buying these to resell raw, because I'm paying pretty good prices to begin with. But I look at the potential to get them graded and then to resell. Some for the PC, some to resell. There you go. Have the hobby pay for itself. So, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you get something out of it. And I look forward to the next video and to seeing you guys soon. Take care now.